Welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to share with you some of the symptoms that I experienced before I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. I find this information to be quite useful because there are times when people go years without being diagnosed with Parkinson's. Part of the reason is because a lot of these symptoms are also shared with other diseases. Some of these symptoms I experienced even as a child. So, when I was a child, I often struggled with memory loss and brain fog. Also, as a child, I had different skin issues like eczema, very dry skin. And as I got older, it did develop into a full-blown case of psoriasis. When I was younger, I used to be very flexible. I was in gymnastics for quite some time, but I always noticed that I had limited range of movement in my left leg for some reason. Some of the things that I tried to attempt, I noticed that my left leg would not do what my other leg was doing. I also like to do ice skating, and I noticed that some of the turns that I tried to do, I couldn't accomplish them very well because my left leg had a decreased range of motion than my right leg. Within the last 5 years, some of the symptoms that I encountered that really started to look like Parkinson's was that my chin would quiver. But I didn't really take it seriously. I just thought maybe I was stressed or tired. Later, I developed a loss of ability to smell. I would be making things in the kitchen like cookies or brownies, and I would notice that I wouldn't be able to smell them. Like I mentioned before, when I was younger, I used to do gymnastics and I used to be quite flexible. But later in life, I noticed that I became really unflexible, very rigid. Finally, I started to develop a spasm in my hand, quite similar to the spasms that I was having in my chin before. So I went to see a neurologist and he did an MRI on me. He also noticed that when he would check my reflexes, they were very brisk, he said. So he did the MRI and a bunch of other tests, and he didn't come up with anything. The MRI showed that I had a few white spots in my brain, but he didn't say it was very significant. He told me to walk, and he noticed that I wasn't moving my left side. My arm was not swinging, and I was kind of dragging my leg at that time. But he did not bring up the possibility that I would have Parkinson's at that time. So I carried on for a few more months with my symptoms progressively getting worse. Then I developed like not really a sore, but a pain in my left foot. It felt like every time I walked, there was a little marble in the sole of my foot. And so that made walking even more difficult. So I was dragging my foot not only because I had a lack of range of motion, but I also had this marble, this feeling of a marble in the bottom of my foot. And it was around that same time that I developed a frozen shoulder. My whole left side was in bad condition. I was dragging my foot. My arm wasn't moving when I walked because I had this frozen shoulder. Then my toes started to stiffen up on my left foot. So I went to see another neurologist, and he looked over the past notes from the previous neurologist, and he ordered for me a DAT scan. And when the DAT scan results came back, it showed that I had Parkinsonism, is what they called it. So the next time I went to the follow-up meeting, the neurologist told me that I have Parkinson's disease. Now, my current symptoms that I have are very bad stiffness in my arm, and in my neck. You might be able to tell this side of my neck, you can see the tendon is very taut, and then this side is quite smooth because it's relaxed. But this one constantly is just very, very stiff. I have a tremor that is worse when I'm stressed or if my cortisol level is elevated. I still drag my foot when I walk, and I don't swing my arm. I can if I try hard enough to concentrate on it, but it can get quite exhausting. One of the symptoms that I struggle with is that it takes my body longer to react to what my mind wants to do. So if I'm changing my clothes or putting on my shoes, my mind is telling my body to do this or to do that. It takes my body a longer amount of time to process the information, and so I find that I'm moving a lot slower. Sometimes it'll come to the point where I'll freeze for a moment or two, and then I'll have to think a little harder. And I do have some episodes of freezing up, but I'm able to regain my bearings and continue on. I'm going to try to see how long I can go without medication, but there may come a time where I will have to go ahead and take it. The reason I don't want to take medication is because of the long-term side effects. But sometimes in order to live in your own body, you have to make that decision. But for now, I'm pursuing other more natural means, which I will address in another video. If this sort of information is of interest to you, you may want to go over to the Michael J. Fox Foundation website. There they have a database that people can access to record what they have experienced, and forms that you can fill out to let them know a little more about yourself and your experience with Parkinson's disease. And I think they are using this information in research, and they have a database for different groups of people. So if this is something that you're interested in and you would like to contribute to the advancement of the knowledge and therapies for Parkinson's, head over to the Michael J. Fox website if you haven't already, and check it out. It's a very good website, very well put together. So if you're interested in doing that, I will put a link in the description box below. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you or a loved one is experiencing the same symptoms that I experience or have been diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I will see you in the next video. God bless.